I've done a couple videos in the last couple years, both of the bigger releases of the slow glide, and I kind of want to make a third video to basically combine some of the things from those two videos to kind of get everything in one place. This is going to be, I guess, the third time that these have been available at Fun and Sun at the tackle show coming up in a few days. I'm going to have as many as I can get made between now and then. I've got them all made, and I just got to get them painted. So they're going to come just like last year with the carbon fiber pin installed, and 7.5 inches long, about 3 ounces. They're also going to come with a stainless steel pin that you can install. Now, we'll talk about the reasoning for that here in just a few minutes. So when it comes from me, they're all going to be tuned, and they're going to come set for kind of a choppy glide. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of people like having a choppy glide. Now, when they come with the carbon fiber pin, you see how that bait is almost neutrally buoyant. It's just sinking extremely slow, and all you need is just little reel bumps. And by what choppy means is how it goes back and forth in a tight line, and you can just let it hover. So a lot of people like that choppy style glide bait. And with this being super slow sink with this carbon fiber pin, you can chop it 3 or 4 times and just let it hover, and it'll turn, basically almost do a 180 and turn back around. If you give it line, it'll spin all the way back and look that way. Now, reasoning behind the slow glide is I like to fish glide baits slow. I like to be able to just control them, and this bait is really controllable. A lot of times I'd fish glide baits and they'd just keep falling out of sight, especially if I was fishing them in shallow water, and I wasn't able to keep the bait up and keep it doing what I wanted it to do. With this, you can. Like I said, it's very controllable. Now, if you like to burn glide baits, this is not your bait. Like I said, you need to get something completely different. But if you like to fish glide baits a little bit slower and be able to steer and really control what the bait's doing, this is a good one for you. So, I mentioned the removable pins. So, all you have to do is when you grab this carbon fiber pin, don't take pliers and crush down on it, because even though carbon fiber is very strong as far as breaking, if you were to try to bend it or break it, you can crush carbon fiber with metal pliers very easily. If you squeeze down on it, you're going to crush that end, and it's going to be hard to get it out of there. So you can just very gently take pliers and pull it out. A lot of times I want it to where it's just hard for me to get my fingers on it and get it out. So now if I want this bait to not be a choppy glide, and I want it to glide out much wider and be able to, what I call, steer the glide, all you have to do is take and go for 1 full revolution clockwise in on each of these. And what that's going to do is tighten up this joint. So then you take the pins are going to be tapered, these carbon fiber pins. Get it in there snug. It's going to tighten that joint up. Now, instead of a choppy glide with a quick back and forth, just giving it bumps, it's going to be able to go way out. And get it further out there, and you can see it a lot better. So still, right now, it's super slow sink. Just little reel bumps. And see how much further out that bait's able to go back and forth. Now, I don't use my rod to move the bait. I just use reel bumps. Just almost gentle reel pulls is all you really need. You're basically just bumping it, and then bumping it, bumping it. So a lot of people like this wider, methodical glide. So you're able to do that and the choppy glide just by a couple revolutions. Now something that I'll show y'all, I've talked about it in one of the other videos. I'll give y'all a little visual. Sometimes it helps me too to be a visual learner. Let's say you're fishing a lake with floating docks, and you can cast to the edge of that floating dock with it set in this wide glide mode. Basically, I can short glide it one way and then long glide it back the other way, and I can get it back under there. Short, wide, get it a little further back. So that's a long, say you make a cast just to the edge of a floating dock, back corner. Give it a longer bump, short bump, long bump. You can get this glide bait as far as you want back underneath that floating dock. Let's get it a little in that corner so you can give it a little head start. So basically short bump, long bump, short bump, long bump, and you can get it as far as you want. I could keep going if I had several more feet to the left and a long cast. You can get it in the middle of a floating dock. And it's very easy. You know, and same token, it could be a stump or a dock post. If you wanted to go inside a dock post, then come back out. Swim platform, any kind of thing in the water, or if you miss where you want to cast, 3 or 4 turns of the handle and you can get it where you want it to be. And that's one of the huge advantages of having that super slow sink, is being able to control this bait. I can start it this way, bump it over this way, then I can actually even go back the other way if I want to. So it's super controllable. Now, on the same token, if I wanted to chop even more, you got to remember the starting point was basically one round, right? So if you go 1, that was the starting point. So you could go back out another full round. So you go back to 1, which was the starting point, go back out another, then reinsert it. And it'll actually get even more choppy. Let it sink a little bit. See how choppy you can get it? Just chops back and forth. So depending on how you like to fish it, what the fish are doing that day, you can really tune this bait. Now what I'm going to do now is set the bait back stock. You know, I talked about the other pin being the stainless steel pin. I'm going to set it back to basically the stock point that I had it. Now, you take the stainless pin, stick it in there. And if you can see, it's already down on the bottom of this tank. This tank's about 2 foot deep. So I'm able to get a completely different sink rate just by changing that pin. You can watch it sink right there. So instead of having to add suspend strips or lead wire to the hook, you can just chain this pin out and get it to be able to get it to sink faster. Or you can also chop it faster if you're fishing shallow. Say you're fishing, 3-4 foot of water, or up next to a dock, and you just want to be able to work it fast down a dock instead of slow and lazy. You can put this pin in, and you're able to just same thing, just light reel bumps. And you're also able to, if you're fishing with forward-facing sonar, this will be able to get down a lot easier to the fish. So it's very easy to change the action on this bait. And all you really have to do is carry both pins that come with it. That's all you really need. Now, the stainless pin you can be more rough with. You just grab it with pliers. Now, if I want it to sink slow again, stick that pin back in. And we're back to almost suspending. So I'll have several of these at Tackle Warehouse. They'll be restocked. I think they do have 2 or 3 left on Tackle Warehouse right now, but they've sold out of most of them. And I'll have a batch of them at Fun and Sun January, I believe it's 18th, 19th, 20th, or 19th, 20th, 21st, one of those. Hope to see everybody there. I appreciate everything and look forward to doing some more.